the same defense, deny then downplay when it comes to firing Comey. Let me put up examples here. The day it was happened, the Russia investigation is not what this is about, said Mike Pence on May 10th, Donald Trump on May 12th. When I decided to do it, I said to myself, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story. Then, of course, the Trump legal team memo on January 29, 2018, where they said a president can fire an FBI director at any time for any reason. Point is, this is a pattern.
It certainly is, and it's not doing the president any favors at all. At least, at the very least, it's certainly bringing in Rudy Giuliani's legacy into question, as we've seen someone who at least made headlines or was praised for being tough on law among, more conservative politicos, turn into someone who just seems to dismiss criminal activity altogether when it involves someone that he is personally connected to. And it's very problematic in this situation because there could be very real implications for the American people and those who rely on the president to serve citizens' best interests when it comes to national security.
Matthew, I just don't understand where, because like I said, let me do the Trump Tower meeting. Same thing happened there. The story comes out on July 8th, 2017. Donald Trump Jr. says we primarily discussed a program about the adoption of Russian children. 5 days later, the answer is this. Donald Trump. It's called opposition research. It's very standard where they have information and you take the information. But July 30th, collusion is not a crime.
Well, you could go back even further in time and probably go to some of those articles in the New York Daily News, New York Post.
I got more here, don't
National
worry.
Enquirer.
I got hush money payments next.
This is who the man is,
This
right?
is the pattern. It's the same pattern. When does it stop?
Probably never. But here's the difference, though. Starting in January, Democrats are going to have control of the House, and they're going to be in charge of those investigating committees, and they're going to have subpoena power. And even if that doesn't reach the president himself, it's going to start getting at kind of the people in the president's orbit. And they're going to be held to kind of a higher standard for truth and veracity than, say, the president has been or his lawyer in the national media.
Ruth, as I've said, I got the hush money payment example, and I'll be darned if I'm not going to get all these examples on air. On November 4th, 2016, the Trump campaign statement, we have no knowledge of any of this. By December 14th, it became Michael Cohen, Mr. Trump directed me to make the payments. And by December 14th, this was not a big crime.
Right.
That one took almost 2 years for them to get to their
to unravel.
They at least kept that one afloat for a while.
Well, from the president on down, the first instinct is to lie, to not tell the truth when confronted with an inconvenient fact or allegation. And then you just start to peel the onion in the layers that you laid out until you get to the truth. And for me, the touchstone is if we knew during the campaign, what we know now about all the things you've unspooled, about the fact that the president was negotiating to build a tower in Moscow when he was running, about the Trump Tower meeting, about the hush money payments. Where would we be? Would he be in the White House? I think that's a serious question, and you've been asking the next serious question, which is, when will it be enough? And maybe the answer is in the next election.
But Eugene, this even happens on policy. We put together, it's a little bit out of order, it was decry, deny, downplay when it came to child separation. So that happened. And then the president says, I hate to see the separation of parents and children. Secretary Nielsen says a couple days later, we do not have a policy of separating families at the border, period. Of course, we end up finding out that, yes, this was the intent of doing this. And then by November 25th, the president said, we have the exact same policy as the Obama administration. Again, I know it's instinctual. It goes to what Ruth just said. But I guess the question is, you have about 55% of the country that's worn out from this, but you do have 40 to 45%. It doesn't bother them.
Absolutely. And one thing that we know the president is mindful of is his base, these supporters who are going to stick with him.
It's the only thing he's mindful of.
Very much so. We usually see presidents, when we head towards the midterm, start to think about the people who weren't supportive of them initially, hoping to win them.
You want to grow? Yeah. Right. He wants to win real ads.
Right.
I know that's crazy.
Get some new people on the Trump train, right? That's not something that he's seen. And one of the things that's been really fascinating and disheartening about how the president has handled this Russia investigation is he seems to be very mindful of his base, knowing these people will support him regardless, but he didn't pay attention to the fact that the base is not as large as it was in 2016. There are people who voted for Trump and Trump-like characters, candidates, should I say, in 2016 who did not in 2018. And in part, it's because of this pattern of dishonesty.
Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Beat the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press Mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.